a stay-at-home dad, watching Disney movies he never had. His daughter digs through all the VHS, crushing the classics in a princess dress. Informed like Scuttle, Kurt's got your ticket, making it real like Jiminy Cricket. Most are off the Captain Hook, but if the Tweedledum, he'll be taking more shots than Bambi's mom. Leaves him raised like Simba, or cracked like the beast dishes. He'll show you a whole new world, you won't need 3 wishes. Stay at home, Disney Dad.
Hard Knock Life is one of the greatest songs ever written. Like, easily top 25 of all time. And I'm not talking just musicals. Of all time. But Imagine and American Pie and Bohemian Rhapsody. Yeah, all great songs. Hard Knock Life is in that mix. I mean, Jay-Z knew. He knew it. And that's not me trying to act like I'm cool and I know hip-hop, because I'm not and I don't. But honestly, this song is so brilliant. Don't it feel like the wind is always howling? Don't it feel like there's never any light once a day? Don't you want to throw the towel in? It's easier than putting up a fight. Those are some millennial lyrics for you, coming straight out of 1982 or the 70s, whenever this came out. So yeah, the original movie dropped in 82, and I have an older sister, and we had the Annie record. And if you're not familiar with what it's like growing up as a Gen X kid, your mom would sit you in front of a record player so you could stare at nothing and listen to a record. And it was awesome. One of my earliest memories, I'm talking, I must have been 3 or 4. I am sitting there listening to this record, and I'm looking at the picture collage of like the stills from the movie that were on like the sleeve or the pullout. The picture of Annie hanging from the bridge was so pure adrenaline to me. I forgot to ask my mom when she was here, but I'm pretty sure they took my sister and I to like a legit touring version of this show that came to town. Okay, this was 1982 Annie. This is not that. This is Disney's made-for-TV version of Annie. Wikipedia says, Annie 1999 is American made-for-television musical comedy drama from the wonderful world of Disney, adapted from the 1977 Broadway musical of the same name. It was based on the 1924 Little Orphan Annie comic strip by Harold Gray. Feature presentation. Let's press play. Kathy Bates, Kristen Chenoweth. Is that Brenda from 6 Feet Under? No, that was the fake character, Brenda Chenoweth. Okay. Opening montage of people's hard knock lives during the busy streets of New York City. We get to the orphanage and Annie's looking out the window as the girls behind her start to fight in the room. But Annie says if Hannigan wakes up, she'll be sore. They argue about who's an orphan, and Annie goes, hey, I'm not an orphan. And then she tries reading this note that everyone has already heard a million times. They haven't memorized. It's from Annie's parents who left her at the orphanage, but she has half a locket. So they know that it's their abandoned daughter when they come back with the other half of the locket. The other kids are sick of this story. Opening song, maybe. The song is great. And as I mentioned, my mom was over when my daughter and I started watching this. And my mom could not get over the fact that Disney Annie doesn't have curly hair. Definitely not going to watch the remake with her. Annie tries sneaking downstairs after tucking everyone in. She's going to try to make a break for it, and they're all like, Hannigan's going to catch you! But Annie goes for it anyways. Hannigan stops her and is like, you think it's bad out there, Annie? Or you think it's bad in here, Annie? It's worse out there! And she's not wrong. As punishment for Annie, Hannigan wakes up all the girls and makes them all clean because Annie tried to make a break for it. Here we go! Hard Knock Life. And it's over, and I mean, you can turn it off now if you want. There's Mr. Bundles. He's the laundry guy. Mr. Bundles shows up, and with a name like that, he's got to be a prime bumbler. This is also like a sweatshop. They're sewing dresses. Bumbler asks out Hannigan, and Hannigan says, sorry, she's saving herself for Daddy Warbucks. And Annie's gone. Annie hid in the laundry pile that Bundles took out, and she's free in New York, wandering around, looking for her parents. Annie steals some corn on the cob and is eating it in the alley. As you do, some dog steals the cob from her, but then brings it back because Annie's sad. Orphan dog and orphan girl bond. And it's in the alley where she sings The Sun'll Come Out Tomorrow. Another great song. That's 3 in a row. Suck it, Hamilton. I'm enjoying this, but the original, this is not. Cop busts Annie and dog, and she pretends that dog is hers, and she goes, the dog's name is Sandy, and the cop calls her, and he goes, okay, call him. She calls Sandy and the dog runs to Annie. She keeps singing Tomorrow. Annie hides with the homeless people warming themselves by a barrel fire in the alley. The cops come and it's been like 17 minutes since they told Annie to get a license and leash for her dog, and she hasn't yet. So then they chase the dog, and then she calls them. She goes, "Hey, Flatfoot!" So then they chase her, because that's a burn in 1922. Great edit where she runs right into the cop's arms, and then there's a jump cut where suddenly she's in Hannigan's arms, and Hannigan is pretending that she was worried sick about Annie. And the second the cop is gone, she's back to being abusive. Kathy Bates sings about little girls, and I don't remember this song at all, and I don't care for it. The personal secretary from Warbucks, the rich dude, shows up, and she's looking for an orphan. She wants Annie. They're taking her for Christmas. That's something rich people used to do in New York in 1922 or whatever. I guess they would take an orphan home for Christmas. And you know what? That's probably something they should bring back if that was a thing. That'd be amazing. Annie's now at the mansion, the Warbucks mansion. There's this huge song and dance about how she thinks she'll like it there, and I don't care how rich this guy is. Does anyone need 45 servants? What are they doing all day? Warbucks shows up after a hard day of building the Titanic, and he's grumpy, and he wanted a boy orphan. And she's like, "Well, you could trade me for a boy." And he's like, "Nah, you're fine." He tells her to attend a Broadway show with Grace, the lady secretary who picked Annie up from the orphanage. But Annie wants to just watch Warbucks Works because she's never known anyone with a real job except bumbling bundles. Warbucks is not excited about Annie. The president of the United States calls. He's coming to their place for dinner for Christmas. Annie's never seen New York City, well, even though she did. So they take her out singing and dancing across the streets. She was just homeless in there. Okay, they're at a Broadway play now. Back at the orphanage, the secretary is back in Hannigan's grill explaining how they're going to adopt Annie for real. And Hannigan's like, "Warbucks, a billionaire, is going to adopt Annie for real?" "Oh, yes, ma'am." We meet Hannigan's conman brother Rooster and his girlfriend, who is, it's the lady from the Pie Show. Is it Kristen Chenoweth? After another song and dance, they come up with a plan. If I can find a flaw in this movie, they need to spread out the hits like the original. This Easy Street song also kind of sucks, and I'm reminded that the 3 hit songs were all in like the first 10 minutes. Warbucks is now stumbling over his words as he tries to tell Annie he wants to adopt her. He tries to give her a new necklace to replace that crap one she's wearing, and she's like, "No, I don't want a new necklace. This one's from my parents, and they're gonna come back and find me." And Warbucks is like, "Okay, I tell you what, give it to me, and we'll get some PIs on it. We'll go find your parents." Back at the orphanage, they're listening to Warbucks on the radio, telling the world that there's a $50,000 reward for anyone who can find Annie's parents. That's like $6 billion by today's money. The orphans break into "You're never fully dressed without a smile." Hannigan hears about the reward on the radio. Her brother and the pie lady show up dressed like Annie's parents. Hannigan says the pie lady is too dumb to pull off this scheme, so she's out, and it's going to be her and her brother Rooster pretending to be Annie's parents so they can get the 50 grand. Yeah, passage of time. Every crappy couple has the same idea. Everyone is pretending to be Annie's parents, but no one knows about the locket, so they're all exposed as liars. Warbucks sings a love song to Annie, and they start waltzing. That's my waltz. He asks to adopt her. She's like, "I don't know, I'm holding out for my parents." Of all the orphans, dude, am I right? He's gonna get the adoption paper signed tonight and throw a Christmas party. After the Christmas decorations go up, Annie makes her entrance in her classic red dress. "With curls, Mom!" Warbucks sings that they don't need anything but you. The lawyer shows up and it's time to sign the papers, and yep, Rooster and Hannigan show up pretending to be Annie's parents, and Annie can't tell it's Hannigan wearing glasses. Then they produce the other half of the locket, and that's that. They can pick her up and the money tomorrow because Warbucks just wants Christmas Eve with Annie. Just wants her for one night. Tonight. Annie's sad. Everyone's sad. Annie wanted her parents, but not like this. Not like this! Annie comes down the stairs, and Warbucks and Grace, the secretary, come out of the bedroom together. This is the next morning. No one says anything. Fake parents show up for Annie. Pie lady is in the orphanage looking after the orphans, and she lets it slip that Rooster and Hannigan are faking to be Annie's parents so they can collect the award. And that's a pretty big misstep there, Pie lady. They get the 50 grand check and they try to run away, but then the Pie lady shows up because she thinks they're going to double cross her, so she's at the Warbucks mansion now blowing the whistle on them. The cops come, they arrest everyone, and Roosevelt himself comes out because he's found Annie's real parents, and they're dead. That was a lot to take in like 3.5 minutes. Roosevelt tells the orphans, who also are there now, that he guarantees they will all get adopted. Everyone loves everyone, and all 59 of their maids have to work Christmas and can't be home with their families. Cause it's a fucking hard knock life.
That's what I think about.
What do you think?
What we have is a concern about Curtis Anderson. His interviewing style is not the best. His personal with the channel that he's allowed to be employed for so long with the standards of journalism and personal appearance that he has. Thank you.